Thank God for the Group Chat is a Fresh Air Media production. This episode was recorded Sunday, January 2nd, 2022. The news and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of Fresh Air Media or any other entities they represent. The events discussed may have changed by the time you hear this. This bonus episode of Thank God for the Group Chat will start in approximately 30 seconds. Yeah, so we're not going off the cuff we're not going off the cuff on this episode, but it is a little bit more relaxed because it's just me, and it's been a while since I just talked to you guys by myself. And if I'm being honest, I am the heart and soul of this podcast, and so sometimes you guys just want to hear from me, and I completely understand that. So with that said, welcome to the adventures of Robe the Mxchine and his unpopular opinion. If you have not subscribed to this podcast in any way, it is my job to inform you that we are wherever you find your podcast, whether it be YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. And of January 3rd, we are on Patreon as our main platform. So wherever you hear, if you're hearing this and you're not on Patreon, you are not getting all that you can get from this podcast. You're not even getting all that you can get from this episode. We are literally we literally have condensed these episodes. And so if you're not hearing it on Patreon, you're not getting all that you can get. And we do that so that we can support the people that support us, right? So if they're listening to this, the patrons on Patreon, they get, they get full access to this whole episode. They get full access to background noise. Background noise will no longer be on any podcast platform. It will solely be on Patreon because we are talking about some really deep stuff and some really personal stuff on there. I really recommend that you guys take heed to that. What else are we doing? There's so much more going on Patreon that I won't even get into now. I'll get into it later, but I just wanted to plug that. So one thing that I did, I took my daughter, literally the day that I got her, we were in North Carolina. I got her, and we had a lot of time to kill before we caught our flight. So we caught a flight, but before we caught the flight, we caught a movie. And the movie that we went to see was Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, Spider-Man No Way Home, everyone's saying, oh, this is the most amazing Marvel film there's ever been. This is the most amazing one. Um, I will say this. I think, man, smoke and mirrors, man. I should probably just change the name of this podcast to No Smoke and No Mirrors or something like that. Because I'm just, y'all fall for the okie doke a lot. And I'm not here to do that. I'm here to expose some things or just give you another perspective on things. That's really what I'm here to do. Give you another perspective. But with that said, Spider-Man No Way Home came out, and I would say that it was a good movie. Yes, we are starting light because right after this is something super heavy that we got to get into. But No Way Home was a really good film. If you don't know by now, I don't think I'm letting the cat out the bag. I don't think that this is a spoiler alert, but if you know, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, the two previous Spider-Men that had movies, were in Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, this brought a lot of things together. They tied it in ever so nicely. That was incredible. That was an incredible part about the movie. The banter, the dialogue, everything was great. From the villains that they chose to, just the people that they chose to be in the film. It was great. My daughter loved it so much. She slept through the mass majority of it, which I really appreciate. I could take her to the movies. I learned that this past couple of weeks ago, so that was cool. But man, so I mean, No Way Home was good, but they calling it the greatest Marvel film ever, and that's where we part ways. That's where I have an issue. That is where I take issue. Here, if you're calling it the greatest Marvel film, it cannot be that just off of the basis that it had to build off of so many other Marvel films to be what it was. It literally had to build off of 8 other films in order to be what it was. So with that in mind, I automatically disqualify it. Just like, like, oh man, the last Marvel movie, that was the last Avengers movies, that was the greatest one. Yes, because it had everybody and everything came ahead. You just can't botch it that way. So I'm not gonna grade it that way. I would say that it was good, and I would say a 4 out of 5. A lot of people are giving it a 5 out of 5. I'm not going to be that generous, but it was really good. I mean, I really can't find anything too wrong with it, but I cannot at the same time say that, yo, this is the greatest one, because it needed other great films in order to make it a great film. But if that's the metric that you're grading on, I'm not mad at you. Just say that's the metric that you're grading on. Now, with that said, that made me think about it. Okay, we got nine Marvel, 9 Spider-Mans to choose from at this point, right? We got 9 of them to choose from. So where do we rank these? Because if we're still talking, I'm an old head at this point. I'm an old head in this Marvel game. I'm not easily swayed, and I'm not easily tricked by what's coming out now. I'm not a slave to yesteryear. I might be a slave to yesteryear, but I'm not a slave to the moment. I'm not a prisoner of the moment. And so, if I'm saying my favorite Marvel films, or top five. Let me not even say my favorite. What I would still call the top 5 Marvel films of all time. Where are you gonna, if No Way Home is there? Where are you gonna put Thor Ragnarok? Where are you going to put Black Widow, which is severely slept on, but in my opinion, one of the greatest films that Marvel has done to date? Where are you going to put Iron Man, which is the thing that sets it all off? But I mean, if we're talking plot and we're talking about origin and how you dole out the origin of this particular character, was done seamlessly, in my opinion. Um, where are you going to put Avengers? Where are you going to put uh oh man, what's another great one? Man, I honestly would, what am I saying? What's the name? The one with all, Chris Pratt and what's, Lost, like I say, Lost Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy. I think that's there, man. Do I think No Way Home is it? I do think Spider-Man. I got I got No Way Home in my running. I got Homecoming in the running. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. So I don't know. I don't think it matches up with those. So, but I'll say this: let's rank my Spider-Man films from 9 to 1. So all 9 of them, in modern day, from 9 to 1. So number 9 would be The Amazing Spider-Man. I watched it this past weekend. I watched it 2 days ago. I bought it, and I can honestly say I see now what people are saying and why people disliked it. It just wasn't good. It just wasn't good. Like when you're juxtaposing it and matching it up with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man and the first Spider-Man of that series, nah, it pales in comparison. So yeah, nah, the Amazing Spider-Man would have to be, and I'm in this from many lists. This is my own list, but this is where I'm putting it. The Amazing Spider-Man is a dud to me. Number 8 would be Spider-Man, not because it was bad, just because it's the least memorable to me. It was the first of its kind, and I think that they built the after that, just because its predecessor and things that had to be built upon it. I don't hate the movie, of course. They made 2 other ones. Number 7 would be the Amazing Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man 2. So they made another one of these, and it wasn't as bad as the first one. I watched it yesterday. It wasn't as bad as the first one, but yeah, no, 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 no. Um, I'll give it kudos. I'll give credit to the surprise ending and things not ending in the way that you would expect it to end and all of that type of stuff. Um, I definitely gotta give, I gotta tip my hat to that. That was important, but no, there's still some other great ones up there. So I got the Amazing Spider-Man 2 at 7. Number 6, I got Spider-Man 2. Now, you talking to a guy that watched this movie every night going to sleep in high school. I'm dating myself. I watched this on my PSP every night. Every night to help me go to sleep. Not because it was a bad movie, but you just kind of you also would watch Batman to go to sleep, at that time. But Spider-Man 2 is near and dear to my heart, and I got it at number 6. Spider-Man, number 5, Spider-Man 3. Now, I got so much from this movie, y'all will never understand. I really don't understand why people dislike this movie. They thought that it was the worst one of the trilogy. But in my opinion, I actually think that it might have been one of the best one of the trilogy. There was so much spiritual stuff from that, man. Yeah, they might have rushed some things or pushed some stuff through. It might not have been how it actually happened or anything or something like that. But Spider-Man 3 was great. You had a great villain. You had two great villains, and yeah, man, Spider-Man 3. Number 4 would be Into the Spider-Verse. It cannot be number 1. A lot of people call this the best one. In my opinion, it will not, and it will never be number 1 because it's animated. It's animated. You can do whatever you want in real life. You can do whatever you want with CGI and all of the technology that we have today. But and don't get me wrong, to be an artist and to be an illustrator is super hard and it takes a lot of talent. But you literally can imagine whatever you want to imagine and create it. It's a lot harder when you're dealing with technology and you pushing the envelope as far as technology goes. Even though that movie moved barriers as well. Into the Spider-Verse is number 4 for me. Number 3 would be in this. I'm cutting my notes. My notes are cutting off. Hold on. I don't know what number 3 would be. Okay. No. Yeah. Yep. My notes are cut off. All right. So I'm gonna have to freestyle this. Number 3 for me would be No Way Home. No Way Home is number 3, and I already talked about No Way Home. Number 2 for me is Homecoming. You had Tony Stark in that. You had the origin of Spider-Man coming and all of that. That was so great. I mean, I got the DVD, and nobody's buying DVDs. No, what I got? I had a Blu-ray. I don't know. I bought it only a couple years ago. I don't know why I did it. Never again. So number 2 would be Homecoming, and number 1 for me is Far From Home. Far From Home. Far From Home to me is basically Iron Man 4. How you like that? Iron Man 4. And so that's a wrap on my my whole Spider-Man spiel and where I'm at with that. So yeah, if you haven't seen Spider-Man No Way Home, I do highly recommend it. Get me wrong, I highly recommend it. I think you'll have a great time watching it with your significant other and your kids. They're not paying me for it. And I hope y'all go and see it. We're looking to have the group chat back sometime in February. Man, a lot of surprises and gearing up for that. For real, for real. Not a lie, not a joke. And if you are a patron on Patreon, you will get all of those updates before anyone else. And I'm going to keep plugging that. All of our full episodes will be on Patreon. All of our full episodes will be on Patreon. If you are listening to this on any podcast platform, you are not getting the full episode. If you are listening to any of this on YouTube, you are not getting the full episode. So So go to patreon.com. That's patreon.com thank God for the group chat to subscribe to be to subscribe to listen to the full versions of the podcast for only $1 a month to start. We have more more tiers on Patreon up to $5 a month. But if you are unsure, please start at the thankful and groupie tiers, which are our $1 and $2 tiers. For updates like these, don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to Fresh Air Media on YouTube for all of our upcoming content. If you're not a patron, you'll find out all of this stuff just not nearly as fast and not nearly as early as the patrons do. The patrons even get early access to stuff. There's so much going on at Patreon that y'all are getting the short end of the stick. We really would like y'all to come on over. But if not, we appreciate y'all right where y'all are. And it's fine as long as y'all participating. But if you want more, trust and believe that there's more.